Yeah. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lucia Jimenez. I'm chair of EurofamNet, and that's the reason I have the pleasure to start talking today, although not the most relevant word to say. And as you have just heard from Zoom automatically, this session is being recorded. So this information will be available on our website in order to, let's say, to spread the word. I want to give you a warm welcome. This is actually our ninth open webinar organized by EurofamNet. I think we can already talk about open webinar series. And maybe, Jean, if you don't mind to start sharing the presentation.
Sure.
This is a commitment that we have from the very beginning and that we will keep having. We had an internal meeting this morning. It's an important moment for us because we are moving from a structure as a cost action as another structure. And I want to emphasize and start saying that these kind of open webinars or exchanges are going to be part of our signature also in the future. So I'm talking in behalf of Professor John Canavan, who is Vice Chair of the network, and myself, and just giving a brief introduction that can do the starting point for this webinar. I want to start say thank you, and first to my colleague David Herrera, who has been in charge of these webinars for a large period already with a great success. There are more than 100 people already engage with the webinar. So I think that's a proof of that. And Ana Pizarro, who has been supporting the organization. I would also to say thank you to our colleagues from Working Package 4. They are the leaders, Professor Nevenka Zegarat and Nina Messel, of the work that has been delivered by Working Group 4. So good friends, but also highly reputed researchers that will be introducing the work, and they have been doing. Thank you for leading this work for these 5 years, not only 4, but 5 years, and for also presenting this information today. And we have also an interesting panelist with Joanna Sequeira, and thank you also for bringing the voice of practitioners. So we will dedicate just a few minutes to introduce the network and to help us to focus on the webinar. So I would like to give the floor to Professor John Canavan to follow from here.
Good afternoon, everybody, and it's a pleasure to be here and participating in this important webinar. As Lucia has said, it continues a process which we began through the cost action funding, which we will continue. But just for those, there might be some people on the call on the webinar this morning who don't know much about the European Family Support Network. So just to say, what are we in the context of the cost action? We are a bottom-up, evidence-based, multidisciplinary network funded as an action under the COST program. So really, we were funded, given network funding by COST, which allowed us to develop a program of work, which we'll talk about. Ideally, our overall destination is to create a pan-European family support network, and we're interested in family support policies and practices. And ultimately, what we want to do is to ensure children's rights and families' well-being. And critically, our modus, our process is about connecting policymakers, practitioners, academics, children and families from the statutory, the non-governmental sector together in an ongoing dialogue. As you can see from the slide, the action as it existed had 173 participants from 35 countries, involved 13 European level organizations. And our style of work was to try to really work from the bottom up, to really engage in a dialogue across all of the participant types, but also to have a reciprocal ongoing dialogue between national and European levels. And that has been what we've been working on. So if we go to the next slide, we can just talk to you a little bit about what we were looking at during the period of the cost action network. In the yellow color on top, we started really here trying to get a handle and understanding of what we might mean by family support, both conceptually, but also in terms of how that fits European policy, legislative frameworks, and so on. We spent a significant amount of our time and energies through Working Group 3, focusing on the area of quality standards and evidence-based programs within family support, really looking at a variety of different aspects: quality standards, evaluation standards, program development standards, but also looking at the role of ICT approaches within family support provision, and have generated significant material here. And then finally, and the focus of today's work, great attention to really thinking about, well, what does it mean when we say family support skills? And that involved an extensive program of activity led by Nevenka Zagrak and Nina Messel and colleagues in Working Group 4. And the timing of their work is such that it comes towards the end of the life of the cost action, but is a super opportunity to bounce into the next iteration of the life of the European Family Support Network and to develop further this focus on family support skills. So I'll hand over to Lucia.
Thank you, John. If you can go next slide, please. So the focus today is on the work developed on family support workforce skills, what I called working package 4, because it's the way we organize internally. And our colleagues will be telling the relevant information about this in a minute. But before that, I wanted just to make a general reflection about how we had a very interesting moment for this to think and reflect at the European level on family support workforce skills, because as you know, Europe has now a skills agenda, and this is the year of skills. So they are dedicating time and effort to put an in-depth look on what is the relevance that the skills have for the workforce in Europe. And also because this work that have been done from EurofamNet is really aligned with European frameworks on care and parents as carers or givers of children, and also on the Children's Rights Initiative that emerged in 2021. And as we have progressed that much, I would say, in the family support field for EurofamNet, you can see this as the relevant items of the balance. On the other side, it's true that and I think our colleagues will refer to that when we talk specifically about family support skills. So what is the agenda in the family support field? There has not been much progress in the past, and for sure, the significant progress will be shared today. And that is a gap that was apparent and also make us to reflect on this topic. Also, what we found was a gap on a trans-professional perspective that is part of the title of this webinar today across professions and settings. So we are referring to skills that are relevant from this trans-professional framework. And we wanted also to point out the lack of integration on the previous progress on family support workforce skills with an evidence-based approach. And on this regard, if you can go on the next slide, please. I want to just briefly introduce what we will be doing next. So our colleagues, we will be now introducing what we have been doing for the last 5 years. And as we have tried to represent on the slide, that work done on workforce skills from now will be integrated with family support conceptualization and deliver, and the work done in quality standards to go further in a next step. And just wanted to mention that we have now been granted with a new project that is related with quality assurance in family support at the European level. And we will be supporting 23 countries to implement a quality assurance protocol that is related with other items, but also with the relevant workforce skills for family support field, as our colleagues will be introducing. So this is a way to tell you that we have done a lot, and this event is the closing event of a period that is our cost action, but it's also the starting point to keep working and progressing. And actually this morning we had our first formal meeting for this project, so still a lot of to be said on this. That's everything from our side. Thank you very much for following this introduction. Apologies for the practical technicalities that are, part of the online life and the online work. And I will give now the floor to our colleague David Herrera, who is in charge of the coordination of the meeting. Will share some practicalities. Thank you for attending. We cannot hear you, David.
Sorry, I was talking to myself. I was saying good afternoon. Thank you to everyone for attending this webinar. I'm going to give very briefly some instructions about how we are going to proceed. Basically, as is being mentioned, the session is being recorded and it will be available in the EurofamNet website afterwards for be watch it as many times as wanted. Today we have the honor of enjoying this edition about, well, the title is Family Support Skills Across Professions and Settings. And the hour will be divided in two presentations. The first one comes from the working group 4 of the previous project, and where Nevenka Segara and Nina Mels are doing a presentation mainly about the catalog they have developed in the last years. And afterwards, we'll have a intervention by Joanna Sequeira, who will act as respondent and will give us some interest views and inputs about opinions about same thing from her perspective. Basically, some details or information you can. It seems that we had some technicalities at the beginning, but basically we encourage you, after those two presentations, we'll have some time for debate, questions, comments. So we encourage you to hand up and open and participate straight away and make your questions. When you hand up this process, the debate is going to be moderated by Professor John Canavan. He will give the floor to people from audience to talk. In that moment, we'll need a little second because right now you have not for technical reasons, you don't have the chance to open your microphone, but in that moment that Professor Canavan will name you, Jean will, technical behind the screens, will give you the opportunity. You will be able to open the microphone and make your comments with no problems. Anyway, you will have also the possibility through the chat of making some comments or questions during the two presentations. So that's how we are going to proceed. And now we are going to start. I'll stop sharing this and I'll share the screen with the presentation by the two speakers that that they have the main presentation, who are Nina Mels and Nevenka Segara. Let me share the PowerPoint. That's it. And now I have the honor to present Nevenka Segara, who is a full professor and director of the MA Social Work program at the Faculty of Political Sciences in the University of Belgrade. She was engaged as a social worker, activist, lecturer, researcher, and consultant in the field of child protection policy, social services development and evaluation of child and family services, and her areas of interest are related to child rights and child protection, case management, child abuse and neglect, alternative care, family support, child trafficking, child labor, children immigration, child participation, and professional development of social service workforce. Nina Mels who will be the other representative of the working group for contributing to this presentation, is an associate professor and researcher at the University of Ljubljana, Faculty of Social Work in Slovenia. She is a social worker and a Gestalt experiential family psychotherapist. Her areas of interest include social work with families, theories of help in social work, and trauma. And they are basically, the title of the presentation is Family Support Skills Across Professional Settings, I say, and the Catalog of Family Support Skills. When you want, Nina and Nevenka, you have the floor is yours.
Oh, Nevenka should start. I don't know. Did we lose her? Ah, she's here. Okay.
Thank you, David. I'm here. Okay, thank you so much, dear colleagues. It is a really privilege to have you here around and to discuss about some work that we did for the previous 4 or even more years. And in this session, we would like to present you a catalog of family support skills that we developed through this one specific process. Next slide, David, please. So we start to work as a specific group in this section to develop a common framework for standardization of skills. And because we wanted to work on improvement, harmonization, and consistency of competency for family support skills across Europe. Of course, it has, of course, it could have a wider impact, of course, but we focused on Europe mostly in this work. Point is that when you're talking about family support, workforce skills, it is really something that is recognizable and that people are accepting and resonate with people. But when you're trying to divide and understand what we are doing really, there are many issues that we should answer actually, because family support service and programs are introduced differently in different countries, not only in Europe, but around the world. And also there are professionals from different backgrounds who work in collaboration with paraprofessionals, and they organize, provide, and advocate for this service from family support perspective and supporting different aspects of family functioning. Also, defining skills for practice of family support in different professional and social sectors is a special challenge in describing similarities and differences between family support and other skills used in helping or right-based and protection context. It is not clear what is skill, what is family support workforce skills, and what is family support workforce skills. So we did a lot of different work and produced this catalog of family support skills, which we want to present it today. Please, next slide, David. So that's what we did actually through our process. In order to conceptualize family support workforce skills, we did several things during the years, and many people for I believe 9 European countries was involved in it. Actually, we first started with a review and analysis of web pages on International and European Organization of Family Support. And we made free maps who are available on the EurofamNet website, and we analyzed that in order to understand what's going on really in this process. And also we did two systematic literature review regarding the peer-reviewed journals and also books and handbooks who are dealing with professional skills in this area, broader area, of course, and guided and had a few guided complex discussion in order to do it. And finally, we organized a Delphi study where the panelists in 3 rounds provided an input and addressing questions around these core and field-specific skills. So these results will be presented by my colleague Nina now.
Okay, next slide, please. So one of the final outputs based on all the work of our working group during last 4 or even 5 years is the catalog of skills, and it has been quite a long journey to get to here, and we are pleased and proud to be able to present our work today. The catalog presents and describes family support workforce core and field-specific skills, but also other topics that are closely related to understanding of the field of family support and family support skills. Our aim is for the catalog to support professionals working in different settings and to ensure that each professional would have the basic knowledge about the core skills to provide high quality family support in various areas of work. So, for example, if the family meets a professional in kindergarten or at the doctors or in courts or centers for social work, they would have professionals with basic knowledge about family support skills. As Nela explained, important data sources for the development of this catalog are the result of our previous efforts and studies conducted by our research group. But for the catalog, we have also reviewed various skills catalogs, particularly those relating to the fields of relevant family support, fields relevant to the family support. The catalog is structured through 9 chapters. So we begin with the introduction, and after that, the definition of skills in family support chapter follows. And then we have 2 chapters that are focused to skills. First one is focused on the core skills for family support workers across different professions and settings. And next one is focused on field-specific skills. But then we have also chapters that are important for the understanding of family support skills, and these are this is a chapter about specific knowledge necessary to perform core family support skills, and then we introduce approaches necessary to this field, and then core personal traits. And in the 8th chapter, which we called amalgam of qualities, we present combination of family support workers' qualities needed to be family supportive. And then we, in last chapter, present conclusions and recommendations. The catalog has been developed in collaboration between academics, professionals, and stakeholders. And as we said, it is aimed at professionals that work with families in different areas of work. And we would really like that the catalog would support professionals to improve skills and knowledge in family support. The catalog is available on the EurofamNet website at the link that is also copied at the slide. You can see it in the corner on the right. Next slide, please, David. Based on the Delphi study, we have identified core family support skills that are shown in this figure. Perhaps just the explanation for core and field-specific skills that I'm going to present on the next slide. The agreement among the experts participated in the Delphi study was reached between 74.1 to 96.3%. And based on that, we developed this catalog. So professionals working with families in different settings need to have these core skills for helping and supporting families. And these are really general skills for a range of professions in various countries. This was our goal to really find these general skills that would be important for different settings, different countries, different professionals. So as you can see, core skills for family support include partnership and collaboration, a set of empathic skills. I hope that you can see, because it's really in small letters, advocacy and empowerment skills, good listening skills, problem-solving skills, building trust and confidence skills, and user-friendly communication skills. In the catalog, you will find the definitions and descriptions for each of these skills, followed by behavioral example. Parts of these descriptions are included in the presented figure under each skill. And at the end of this chapter, there is also a table where we summarize all 7 core skills and behavioral examples, and we add also operational example to each skill. So next slide, please, David. You can see here one example. So this is the example for the skill partnership and collaboration, and you can find more in the catalog. So you can see that we present short behavioral example and then operational example, where we wanted to include different family stories in different settings. Next slide, please, David. Yes, and this is the figure that you can find in the 4th chapter, where we present field-specific skills for family support workers. As we said, we defined them based on the findings of the Delphi study, where we asked about most important core skills for family support workers in different areas. For example, we asked, the question was, which skills are particularly needed for professionals to be family supportive in the field of education or in the field of law and so on. So the set of field-specific family support skills were outlined in the areas of medicine, education, welfare, social welfare, mental health, and law. And most of these skills are already defined and explained in the 3rd chapter, with exceptions of 3 skills, that is informing and referral, managing crisis, documentation and reporting, because these were additional skills that were listed as important for specific skills. And these skills are then defined and explained in this 4th chapter. Okay, next slide, and I give the word to Nela back. Nela, we can't hear you.
Okay, many things to manage when you are using this kind of conferences. So results of our efforts actually back to construction of the model of family support skills, introducing some possible interactions between core and field-specific skills, knowledge, approaches, personal traits, and amalgam qualities of family support professionals and practitioners also. So these skills are supported with particular knowledge and practice approaches and enforced by certain practitioners' traits and qualities. And these skills, mostly that we are talking about partnership and collaboration, a set of empathic skills, advocacy, empowerment, good listening, problem solving, user-friendly communication, and these field-specific skills regarding managing crisis, informing and referral and documentation are also mentioned in many other settings, but we are trying to denote and deepen understanding of critical skills which involve specific performance strategies and routines in this broad field. And actually, what we hypothesize or what we conclude so far is that what distinguishes family supportive from other helping and supportive skills, apart from this strong focus on partnership, participation, and empowerment, seems to be nested in particular combinations and transdisciplinarity of these skills, supported by certain knowledge and particular approaches of family practice. And our findings actually imply that those skills that we are mentioning turns to be family supportive when they are applied based on specific knowledge, like knowledge of regarding family life cycle, dynamic and stresses, social context, poverty and discrimination, and child development, and embedded in specific practice approaches who are essential for effective performance of those skills. So these are whole family, strengths-based, relationship-based, and child-centered approach. Actually, what is different comparing to other literature approaches and reviews comes that the greatest tension in this field actually occurs from between the whole family and child-centered approaches, which often are considered competitive. But our results and our works suggest that the advancement and utilization of family support skills need a merged application of both approaches, and that one does not necessarily exclude the other. Actually, in context of this field, knowledge and approaches are applied by practitioners who preferably possess certain traits like as integrity, commitment, and flexibility, and certain qualities which are actually combination of all these features. And we are talking about ethical stance and conduct, empathy and compassion, engagement with family members and professionals, managing on the emotionally demanding situation, and non-judgmental stance. Next slide, please. So we want to share these implications that we are taught about on policy level. We should trace path for family support workforce skills, which means that we, to have a competent family supportive policies, we need really competent and skilled professionals and policies regarding education, development of professional competencies, and the design of family supportive organization and services. On a practical level, we should empower today's and tomorrow's provider in this field through training, education, and professional development, and also to think about actions in empowering professionals through organizational changes in services and sectors for advancement in this field. And also on a level of evidence-based practice, we need to learn more about research knowledge about the acquisition, maintenance, and transferability of these skills, and to learn more about family support process in different practice settings, because data are very mixed and on a different level, so we need to learn more. And of course, we need to include the voices of families and children in the knowledge base in order to find out how they perceived family support workers across the settings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's been really lots of information and lot of things to think of, and very complex and lots of ideas to keep in mind. And in my case, it's been very evocative because I work in a faculty where most of us, or many of us, where we are training future professionals in this area. So thank you. It's been inspiring, and give me, hopefully, to all of us, some ideas in this sense. Thank you so much. And now we are going to move on, and we are going to give the floor to Joana Sequeira, who is a clinical psychologist and a couple and family systematic therapist. She has a PhD on clinical psychology. She is board member of the European Family Therapy Association, EFTA, where she also is the secretary of TICBO, and she is assistant professor and coordinator of the master degree in clinical psychology, specialization in systemic and family therapies in Superior Institute Miguel Torga in Coimbra, Portugal. And she trains and supervises teams and professionals in systemic, couple and family therapy. Her areas of research and publications are divorce systemic interventions, narrative therapies, family evaluation, and functioning and therapeutic process. Joana, thank you so much. We know how busy you've been in the last weeks, and we really appreciate that you're here today collaborating and sharing with us all your experience. Thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
Good morning to all of you. Thank you very much for this invitation to share my thoughts about the work. Also, I would like to say now that I am very pleased to be participating in this cost action. It has been a pleasure, and I have learned a lot, and it was, I think, very helpful. The work, it is and it will be very helpful, the work that was developed in all the working groups. So I will share with you some thoughts in an indirect way. I was also involved in some of this work that was developed on Working Group 4. So my thoughts about it will be today based on my position and in this cost action. And I am a representative of the European Family Therapy Association. And I think it is very important to acknowledge the work that was developed on this group on identifying and organizing very important concepts around skills of professionals in the field of family support. And when I use the word professionals, I know that your word was workers, but professionals, I think it is a broader expression. And I really think that the work that has been done and it's expressed in this catalog produced 4 main documents that are very important to professionals. And I think that those documents will be very useful for professionals. So it is important to think of a way of spreading these documents. And I refer to the systematic review on the family support workforce skills, the reviews of books and handbooks, the mapping and the content analysis of websites, and the Delphi study. So this is really like a puzzle where several pieces are put together to create an outcome that it is very, very important and that is based on a consensus across several professionals, experts, researchers, stakeholders, and it's very well organized about what is the definition of skills, what are we talking about when we talk about skills in family support interventions, what are the core skills and the specific skills that are needed in several areas and settings, and also specific knowledge about individuals, about family development, about context and actual challenges that we are facing and that we know that cross families' lives very deeply. And also about something very important, that are the personal characteristics, the traits that people that work with families, whatever context we are talking about, must have. And this is very, very important because we all know that, and it's like common sense, but in the end, it's not common sense. So we really have to put that formally, because we need to have a common language in between professionals. And I think that is the major accomplishment that this working group constructed, is that we all recognize ourselves in the work that is presented. Why? Because we have a common language, and the colleagues that are working on this process, they are trying to help us create more and more that common language that will help us then work in a more articulated and more integrated and more effective way. And this is like a portrait of the landscape. And this portrait of the landscape where we are, I'm a systemic thinker, so I cannot see the micro only. I have to see the landscape. That's why I think this idea, it's interesting. We know where we are. We share a common language. We have voices from researchers, practitioners, stakeholders, a little bit from the families. I think we also have that, and that is very, very important. So where should we move now? And how can we move together? And in my position as EFTA representative, I think that these outcomes are very important for training. For training not only at the level of the universities, but also at the level of professionals. And this is very, 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 it's a huge challenge. Why? Because, for example, in our field, and we work with all countries from Europe, and in EFTA, we have the institutes that train family therapists. And for example, family therapists, they come from different backgrounds. So we have social workers, we have medical doctors, we have psychologists, we have many different professions training to be systemic family couple interventors, and we need to have this common language across not only professionals that are family or systemic based approaches, but in between all the diverse orientations where we are trained in. And this is quite important. So in EFTA, I think we have two possible paths to work with the action. One of them is to think together, how can we include this knowledge that you now have had produced about skills in the training programs? I think they already exist in some points, but maybe we have to give them more space. Maybe we have to give them more importance. And your work is very relevant on that area. And also we are related in EFTA with national organizations. So we have representatives from each country of Europe. And we work with them in the sense that we help them construct organizations of systemic interventors that work in a consistent way, evidence-based way, and again, that are well-trained. And we are now facing in Europe, especially in the interface between what we call psychotherapy and our primary graduations, we are facing a huge challenge at the national and European level, because EAP is now trying to make some decisions, not decisions, but recommendations about who will be able to say that they are psychotherapists. And this also refers, for example, for family therapists. And this is an European question, but it's also a national question because we are having different laws. For example, in Portugal, about this now, we are working on trying not to allow that only psychologists and medical doctors can be allowed to be, for example, family psychotherapists. Why? Because we have social workers and other professionals that are also family therapists. And if this law about psychotherapy that includes, for example, family therapy is approved, those people will not be able to do family therapy. And this is very serious because, for example, in Portugal, we have a huge community of nurses, of social workers that are family therapists. But going back to the point where I was thinking about is how can we introduce this knowledge that you are creating about common skills, about common ground, also in the training of specific professions. So the question is how to advocate for the introduction of these contributions in training of several types of professionals in the family support field. What is the type of information or feedback that the group wants from EFTA? How can we help you to continue the work? I think we could do it at two different levels. One of them is to collaborate in constructing ways of informing training programs, because we do that. We inform training programs. And now another question, and what I thought about your work is, wouldn't now be the time to continue to move studying the specific skills related to specific professions or interventions? Because I think that is very, very, very important, because we have now the common ground, and maybe now we need to go to the specific skills that each of us have to develop. And we need to know what skills are those. How can we train them? How can we, researchers and practitioners, help each other having a constructive dialogue about this? How can we think together about ways of approaching professionals and policymakers about this? I think we have to create more outputs, more webinars, more conferences, more materials for the professionals, more easy reading materials, not only scientific research, because we read them because we are inside the universities, but for professionals, we have to find another way. And also, I think we have to find a way together. I saw it, David, don't worry. We have to find a way of including the voice of the families, of the children, of the people with whom we work. And for that, we really need to hear what professionals have to say. How can we incorporate those voices in all this thinking that we are producing about family support skills? So I'm just ending my contribution, and what I would like to say is that from the EFTA position, we congratulate you of the work, about the work that you have developed. We will try to introduce this work in the field of the practitioners, specifically in the field of family therapists, and we are completely available to help and collaborate on finding ways to develop more this approach of the common ground and the specific skills. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna. In the same way as the previous presentations, very evocative and too many notes I took. Maybe you don't see, but I had a whole page with ideas. And hopefully we have not much time, but now we are going to open the discussion. I don't know if there are some comments, but I can myself, if you don't mind, break the ice. I don't know if we have that expression. We say in Spanish, breaking the ice. And with a few thoughts and maybe one question, which is, I think we have to still discuss at the European level about what are skills. Joanna, you mentioned that, because in some countries, for example, in Spain, we're using a lot the concept of competencies, and I don't know if we mean the same in every country. This is why culturally informed is important, because the meaning of the words are not always the same, different in the different regions or countries. So we still have to discuss this quite a lot to maybe get to same meanings in that sense. And I have one question for Nevenka and Nina, which is, I'm quite concerned about the interdisciplinary or intersectorial work of our professionals. By the way, there are some social educators as well, at least in Spain, working with families, which is maybe a new figure, not familiarized in different countries, but there are educators working with families as well. And but one of the things we worry about in the faculties where you are right, Joanna, initial training is important, but also permanent training as well for professionals, is how to teach them to work together with other professionals. I don't know, Nevenka and Nina, if you found something in that sense, how to work, to make work, or networking is a better word, how to teach that to them. Thank you. Nevenka or Nina?
I can try to answer to that, and Nina and others could, of course. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I can try to give my perspective, and Nina will add, of course, and comment it, and others. It is really important questions. It's not only how to learn different kind of students from different fields, how to work together, but if we teach them that they are there for family support. Actually, when you are, I don't know, teacher or a carer in a kindergarten, or if you are a teacher in a primary school, and if you are a nurse, if you are a pediatrician, if you are someone who works with family in family capacity, you can be more or less family supportive. If you don't have perspective of family support, then it means that you will, how to say, neglect some part of very important issues. So it's point how to introduce in a training, in a education, in a university training, and in post training, because we cannot only educate the professionals and look at that they will work for, I don't know, next 10 or 15 years. We also need family support for our families now. So point is to also to develop and to adjust this kind of ideas and approaches to different kinds of settings. In this part, as we can see from our different kind of researches and approaches, in field of mental health, in field of social welfare, and in a way in a field of education. It is there are different ideas who resonate with these findings and these approaches that we want to emphasize. But in a field, for example, in medicine, except of mental health, and the field of law, there are just some examples and some efforts in order to include family supportive approach in their work. So I believe these two fields are the toughest one, but very, very important one, but because there are a lot of family issues on the court, of course. And in medicine, it is not only about mental health. Some things are there in nursing profession regarding families with small children, and but many not so many things in other aspects. So I believe that people who are devoted themselves to be included in that kind of profession, working wanted to work with people on their issues. And when there are family issues, they actually, how to say, devoted themselves to work on it. So it is necessary to include this kind of knowledge and approaches and stance and professional conduct in their education also. So it should not be something which is reserved for psychologists or social worker or psychotherapist. It should be something, because as a mother, I want my teacher of my child to be family supportive. I want to rely on them like someone who support family functioning in a proper way from their teaching perspective, in order to help me to parenting my child on the best way, and to organize my family life on the best way regarding the children. So if we are introducing this idea and include it in a university curricula and a post-training for a professional continuous education, I believe it could move something, because it moved in some parts, but not enough. Thank you.
Okay, can I just add something, because I totally agree with what Nela said, but in the question about this collaboration and interdisciplinary work is of course very important in the field of family support, and this is why also our core, one of main core skills is partnership and collaboration, which refers also to interdisciplinary collaboration. But I think that in this, what Nela also said, where we can make a difference is that, of course, we are already working a lot with different professionals, sitting together, but the quality of collaboration can be better if we have this common ground of understanding of family support. And I think that this is the important question for the present and for the future. So I just wanted to add this.
Thank you so much, Nina and Nela, Nevenka. Yeah, I think the systemic perspective is what we have to, not only in the family support field, which is the one that brings us together here, but probably in the social sciences in general. So thank you so much, John. I don't know if we have any other question. I think we are a little bit over time.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit over time, and I'm noting there aren't any other questions or comments that I'm seeing anyway. And I've also asked Jean to have a look, so we're not seeing any. Perhaps we had just so much information for people, but I think it's really important to emphasize the significance of this output and the opportunity the model presents for a program of research that we really can drive forward to pick up on some of the points that have been raised by our contributors today. I mean, it's really exciting. So just to say that, but no, I think we're probably okay, and it probably is time to go. We said we would go for the hour, so perhaps we should finish now.
Yeah, all right. So if that's the case, thank you to all the speakers, Nevenka, Nina, Joanna. I know I appreciate this started a long time ago, and we have, thank you so much, because we enjoy a really evocative, as I say, inspiring presentations, and that was one of the main goals of these webinars so far. For all the editions we've done. So thank you in that sense. I also wanted to thank EurofamNet for all the support during all these years, and especially in this edition to Lucia Jimenez, John Canavan, and Ana Pizarro and Jean Grasmeijer, who are behind the screens. And well, you can see Jean, but they've been working a lot during a few months, and thanks to them. And I want to thank the audience, because you're there, because you are interested in these topics. And I think between all of us, we are moving forward in family support. So thank you, and I give you the floor to John and Lucia to close this event. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks. I have been seeing, I think because of the format of the webinar, you cannot see the full list of people, but we have been more than 70 people connected at the same time, and probably that means more in total. So I think that's a good reflection of the interest of the information you have been sharing today. It's incredible. I keep learning. I have read your work. I know exactly, well, not exactly, but I mean, I follow very close what you are doing, and again, still I feel inspired by what you are presenting. I think there is a high level of sophistication in the work you have done, and that has to do with areas that are very relevant. That I think for example, the framework piece in terms of theories or knowledge or approaches is very relevant, as well as the attitude one, for sure. The more behavioral one is important, but I wanted also to emphasize that. I think the comment from Nevenka about practitioners being family supportive is key in the way we are approaching this and the way we are formulating this. So thank you for Nevenka and Nina for coordinating this work, and also to all the group of people that has been working behind, that is not on the screen, but is, I would say it's a large, I know it's the largest group of the network, but I mean, it's an important number of people that has been devoting to this, to produce something that is very important. Thank you, Joanna, for your reflections, that I think you cover a lot of very important topics that I think that refer even to a cultural change when we talk about common language challenges, practical implications, and so on. So I can only say thank you to all of you for this work and for the attendees. I hope that was useful to have this interaction today, and you have interesting tools as the catalog and other related outputs from the group also on the website. So now, John, I will give you the floor in case you want to say a final word.
Maybe just a final word to acknowledge the work of all colleagues in the network, in all of the working groups. We often refer to the leaders in the working groups, but across the full program of activity over 5 years, significant work by a lot of people who don't always get mentioned. So just to say that work is really appreciated, and I think we do have a very strong platform to advance across a number of areas for the network into the future. And this is a really strong example of one of those. So thank you, everybody.
So thanks. We are closing course, but not finishing the network. So this is a turning point. Okay. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the weekend. Thank you.